Hello everyone and welcome back to TSI. With the release of Jurassic World Rebirth coming up super soon, today we are recapping all of the Jurassic movies starting with Jurassic Park and going all the way to Jurassic World Dominion. In Jurassic Park, taking place in June 1993, we are first introduced to John Hammond, who is the creator of Jurassic Park, which is a sort of theme park slash zoo for cloned dinosaurs. He founded the company InGen, a company that specializes in cloning extinct animals. The park is also on the island Isla Nublar. However, after a dinosaur handler is killed by a velociraptor, the park's investors request that certified experts go to the park and check the safety of the park, the people, and of course the dinosaurs. The experts are paleontologist Alan Grant, paleobotanist soil scientist Ellie Sattler, and mathematician Ian Malcolm. The investors are also represented by lawyer Donald Gennaro, who is with this group in the park. As the group is traveling through the park, they see a brachiosaurus in one of the most iconic scenes of the whole series.
Alan, this species of Variformin's been extinct since the Cretaceous period. I mean, this thing isn't one this thing. What?
The group then goes to the park's main lab where they found out that the scientists cloned these dinosaurs by using the DNA of very old mosquitoes and frogs. One of the scientists, Dr. Henry Wu, explains that the dinosaurs are created to be all female in order to prevent breeding. Donald instantly is in love with the park, however Alan, Ian, and Ellie on the other hand are very unsure. They worry about the way the dinosaurs are being treated and the fact that dinosaurs are being put back into this world after millions of years of extinction. The group then goes on an even more thorough tour of the entire park using these iconic electric vehicles and are joined by Hammond's grandchildren Lex and Tim. On the tour, Ellie encounters a sick Triceratops, so she stays with it and lets the rest of the group continue the tour. Real quick, let's now introduce some of the bad guys of the movie. First is Dennis Nedry, who is a computer programmer at Jurassic Park. Then there's Lewis Dodgson, who is a man working for one of Hammond's rivals. At the beginning of the movie, Dodgson bribes Dennis with $800,000 to steal and give him dinosaur embryos from the park. So while the group is on tour, Dennis deactivates the entire park security system so that he can gain access to the embryos. He then puts the embryos in an empty shaving cream can. However, him cutting off the security system also cuts down the power, which stops the phones, the tour vehicles, and the park's electric fences. Another big issue is that the tour vehicles stop right in front of the Tyrannosaurus Rex enclosure, and with the fences open, this lets the T-Rex escape. The T-Rex instantly kills Donald and injures Ian. Alan, Lex, and Tim are able to escape together though. They end up spending the night in a tree away from the dinosaurs. Meanwhile, while Dennis is driving his jeep to the docks trying to deliver the embryos, he is killed by Dilophosaurus. Ellie then gets back to the main lab / control center where she meets up with Hammond and helps the park's officer Robert Muldoon search for any survivors. They find Ian and take him back to tend to his injuries. In the morning, Alan, Lex, and Tim wake up to find the shells of dinosaur eggs, so Alan concludes that the West African frog DNA actually allows some dinosaurs to change sex and then reproduce. Back at the control room, Hammond and Ellie realize they can't reactivate the security system because Dennis put a code on his computer. They now have to reboot the park's entire security system with the park's engineer, Ray Arnold. Ellie, Hammond, and Robert go to a bunker, while Ray goes to a tiny shed to complete the reboot. Sadly though, Ray ends up being killed by a raptor. After Ray doesn't come back, Ellie and Robert go to the shed and find out that the reboot has now unlocked the raptor cages too. While Ellie turns the power back on, Robert goes out to fight the raptors, but he is also killed by two of them. Alan, Lex, and Tim get back to the visitor center, and Alan goes to look for Ellie, leaving Lex and Tim alone in the kitchen. Lex and Tim are pursued by raptors in the kitchen in another super popular scene, but luckily are able to escape. They meet up with Alan and Ellie, and with the park's power now restored, they call Hammond to call for help. Just as they get to the main entrance though, the group is cornered by raptors, but a T-Rex actually saves them by killing the raptors. Hammond and Ian then pick up the group in a jeep, and they later escape to the helicopter to get off the island, ending the movie. Also, I forgot to mention that Alan and Ellie kind of have like a romantic relationship in this movie, and I think they start dating after this movie as well. In the Lost World Jurassic Park, taking place in 1997, we learn of another island called Isla Sorna, aka Site B, which is pretty close to Isla Nublar. At the start of the movie, a couple with their daughter is at the island, and the daughter actually ends up getting hurt by tiny dinosaurs. We then focus on Ian Malcolm, who's the main protagonist of the film. He meets Peter Ludlow, who is Hammond's nephew and also the new CEO of InGen after Hammond was released due to the incident on Isla Sorna. Hammond explains to Ian that Sorna was the breeding site for the dinosaurs, while Nublar was the actual dinosaur park. He then says that the remaining dinos on Sorna should have died since they were bred with lysine deficiency, but for whatever reason they didn't. Hammond wants Ian to get a team together to find out why. Peter, on the other hand, is completely against the idea because he wants to transfer the dinosaurs from Sorna to a San Diego zoo in order to take InGen out of bankruptcy. At first, Ian says no, but once he finds out that his ex-girlfriend Sarah Harding is on the team, he's fully on board since he wants to, quote-unquote, rescue her. Before Ian leaves, his daughter Kelly asks to go with him, but he says no for her safety. So Kelly hides herself in one of the transport vehicles and goes to Site B anyways. Ian also meets some of the other members a part of this group, Eddie Carr and Nick Van Owen. Because Ian wants to leave so quickly, Eddie doesn't get the chance to test any of his equipment before they get to Site B. Once they get to Site B, they find Sarah using a beacon on her backpack and find Kelly hiding in a vehicle. Though Ian tries to get Sarah off Site B, she doesn't listen because she wants to continue her research on the dinosaurs. So far, she's found that even though the dinosaurs were born with lysine deficiency, using their natural resources on the island like plants and foods that had lysine in them, the herbivores were able to survive. The carnivores would then eat the herbivores, giving them the lysine they needed to survive. Meanwhile, Peter gets his own assault team led by Roland Tembo to get dinosaurs from Site B for a San Diego zoo. Because Roland is a hunter, he also wants to kill a T-Rex, so he kidnaps a baby T-Rex hoping that his cries will bring the parents to him. Ian saves the baby T-Rex and brings it to the group's RV for medical attention, but by then the adult T-Rex parents arrive. The RV is pushed over the edge of the cliff by them. Eddie ends up saving everyone but does sadly get killed by the T-Rexes in the process. Their only working radio now is surrounded by raptors, but luckily Ian gets to it and sends a message out to a big ship nearby. While he's doing that, Roland tranquilizes a T-Rex that attacks their camp. Once the ship arrives, it puts the T-Rex in a huge cage to take to the zoo in San Diego. Helicopters also arrive to take Ian and the whole group. Once they get to San Diego though, the T-Rex actually escapes and goes around the city. However, Ian and Sarah find out that Peter also brought the baby T-Rex too. Ian and Sarah get it, which throws the adult T-Rex back to its baby. They then put the baby into the ship's cargo hold, but of course, Peter tries to get it out since he wants it for the zoo. Instead, the adult T-Rex ends up going into the ship too, and Peter is killed by the adult and baby dinos. Sarah shoots the adult T-Rex with a tranquilizer, which allows Ian to close the cargo doors and send the two back to Site B, ending the movie. Jurassic Park 3 takes place in 2001, where Alan Grant is still studying dinosaurs, but now focuses more on raptor intelligence rather than cloning technology. He's skeptical of everything InGen has done and wants no part in revisiting any of the islands. He's a mentor to a guy named Billy Brennan, and they're trying to raise funds for their research. Alan is approached by a wealthy couple, Paul and Amanda Kirby, who claim they want to fly over Isla Sorna, aka Site B, for a private aerial tour. They offer to fund Alan's research in exchange for him being their guide. Though hesitant at first, Alan ends up agreeing. Along with Billy and a small crew, they take off in a private plane, but it quickly becomes clear the Kirbys have lied. In truth, their son Eric went missing on Isla Sorna during a parasailing trip weeks earlier, and the Kirbys are actually a middle-class divorced couple pretending to be rich. They crash land the plane on the island and are soon attacked by a Spinosaurus that kills several members of the group, including the pilot and co-pilot. The survivors of the group are now stranded while searching for Eric. As they explore the island, they do end up finding Eric, who has survived on the island for the past 8 weeks using his knowledge of the land and dinosaurs. While exploring though, they're also attacked by various dinosaurs, mainly raptors and pterodons, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, but whatever. During a tense moment at a raptor's nest, it's revealed that Billy stole raptor eggs in hopes of selling them to fund Alan's research. The raptors then chase after the group while the pterodons chase them in the sky. Luckily, Alan uses the raptor larynx to confuse the raptors so that they can get away. Later on, Billy risks his life trying to save Eric from the pterodon aviary and is presumed dead. The group attempts to reach the coast and signal for help, but they are pursued by the Spinosaurus many times. In a final confrontation, they use fire and gasoline to scare the Spinosaurus away. And things end great because the US Marine Corps and Navy arrive to rescue them thanks to a satellite phone call Eric made using a recovered phone. Billy, to everyone's surprise, is found alive and recovering. The movie then ends with the survivors flying away from the island. And something I forgot to add is that Ellie Sattler is in this movie for a bit, and it's revealed that since the first movie, she and Alan have broken up, and she's now married to a guy named Mark Degler. In Jurassic World, it has now been 22 years since the first Jurassic Park, so it is now 2015. We are introduced to a new dinosaur theme park called Jurassic World, located once again on Isla Nublar. Jurassic World is owned by Masrani Corporation, which took over InGen after Hammond sadly died. The CEO, Simon Masrani, wants to honor Hammond's vision by making dinosaurs accessible to everyone. However, in an attempt to boost attendance and profits, the scientists at the park have started creating new hybrid dinosaurs. One of the hybrids they've created is the Indominus Rex, a genetically modified dinosaur that is larger, stronger, and more intelligent than any creature before it. The Indominus was made by chief geneticist Dr. Wu, who was one of the scientists in the first movie. Simon wants to see the Indominus before it's revealed to the public, so he asks the Velociraptor trainer Owen Grady to inspect its enclosure. The raptors Owen trains are Blue, Charlie, Delta, and Echo, and he also believes that dinosaurs should be treated with more caution and respect in general. We are also introduced to Claire Deering, the park's operations manager, who has a super busy life. She is also the aunt of two boys, Zach and Gray, who are visiting the park without their parents. Because she's so busy, Claire leaves the boys with her assistant Zara, but Zach and Gray leave Zara and start exploring the park on their own. Meanwhile, while Owen inspects the Indominus enclosure, the dinosaur uses its intelligence and camouflage abilities to trick the staff into thinking it escaped. When the workers open the paddock, the Indominus ambushes them and breaks loose into the jungle. Owen luckily survives, but many other employees are sadly killed. Simon even sends a security team to contain the creature, but the Indominus outsmarts and kills them as well. Later on, Zach and Gray end up stuck in a gyrosphere, one of the park's attractions, because everything at Jurassic World is shut down after the Indominus escape. The gyrosphere then gets attacked by the Indominus. Zach and Gray escape by jumping into a waterfall and eventually find an abandoned building from the original Jurassic Park, where they manage to get an old Jeep working. Claire and Owen go looking for the boys and bond along the way, eventually finding Zach and Gray and bringing them to safety. Back at the control center, Vic Hoskins, the head of Jurassic World's security division, has his own agenda. He wants to weaponize the raptors for military use and sees the Indominus crisis as the perfect opportunity to prove their value. Against Owen's protest, Vic authorizes a mission to track the Indominus using the raptor pack, with Owen reluctantly leading the team. At first, the raptors follow the scent, but then they begin communicating with the Indominus, who turns out to have Velociraptor DNA and turn against the humans, killing most of the soldiers. Owen manages to re-establish a bond with Blue, and together with Claire and the boys, they head back to the park to try to stop the Indominus. Meanwhile, Vic tries to take control of the entire situation, but he is also killed by a raptor. Claire then releases the park's T-Rex from its paddock to fight the Indominus. In the final battle, the T-Rex and Blue team up to fight the Indominus near a lagoon. It's an awesome battle, but it ends with the Mosasaurus leaps out of the water and drags the Indominus into the lagoon, killing it. The next morning, Zach and Gray are reunited with their parents. Claire and Owen decide to stay together and leave the island together as well. Meanwhile, the dinosaurs are now free and roaming the island, with the T-Rex standing atop a helipad and roaring triumphantly as the movie ends. In Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, taking place in 2018, the Jurassic World Park has been completely abandoned and dinosaurs now roam freely on Isla Nublar. However, the island's volcano has become active, threatening to wipe out the remaining dinosaurs. The US government debates whether to save the creatures or let them go extinct again, but ultimately decides not to intervene. Claire is now a dinosaur rights activist and runs a dinosaur protection group. She's contacted by Eli Mills, the right-hand man of Benjamin Lockwood, Hammond's former partner, who helped develop the cloning technology, but parted ways with Hammond years ago. Eli tells Claire that Benjamin wants to save the dinosaurs by moving them to a new island. He asks her to help get the dinos off Isla Nublar. Claire agrees and recruits Owen to help, and he agrees, especially since Blue is still on the island. Claire and Owen travel to Isla Nublar with a team that includes veterinarian Zia Rodriguez and analyst Franklin Webb. They're joined by a security team hired by Eli and led by a man named Ken Wheatley. Once on the island, they begin rounding up the dinosaurs, but it quickly becomes clear that Eli and Ken have darker motives. They tranquilize Blue and betray Owen and Claire, leaving them behind as the volcano erupts. Zia is taken with the security team and the dinosaurs onto a cargo ship, heading back to the US. Owen, Claire, and Franklin barely escape a series of fiery explosions and stampeding dinosaurs, but luckily they are able to sneak aboard the ship. But there is a really sad scene where Brachiosaurus calls out for help before sadly dying. Once back in the mainland, they travel to Benjamin's estate in Northern California, where the captured dinosaurs are being kept in underground holding cells beneath the mansion. Eli also kills Benjamin after he finds out about Eli's true intentions with the dinosaurs. It's revealed that Eli plans to auction off the dinosaurs to clients from around the world. Meanwhile, Dr. Wu is working on a new genetically engineered dinosaur called the Indoraptor, made from the DNA of the Indominus Rex and a Velociraptor. At the same time, we meet a new character named Maisie Lockwood, Benjamin's young granddaughter. As the auction begins, she becomes suspicious of Eli. She later discovers a shocking truth: she herself is a clone, the first human created using the same technology as the dinosaurs. It's really confusing, and I don't think I really understand it either, but essentially, Maisie is a clone of her mother, Charlotte Lockwood, who died from a genetic disease. But because Benjamin was older when he cloned Maisie, she basically became his granddaughter even though she's actually a clone of his daughter. And for Maisie's whole life, she thought her quote-unquote mother died in a car accident. And due to Benjamin cloning a human, this was the main conflict between him and Hammond. Sorry, that was a lot and it was very confusing, and it gets a little more confusing in Jurassic World Dominion, but first, we gotta finish this movie. During the auction, the Indoraptor is unveiled. Though it is incomplete and unstable, Eli decides to sell it anyways. However, it breaks loose, killing several people including Ken and many of the buyers. Chaos breaks out inside the mansion as Owen and Claire work to stop the Indoraptor. Owen releases Blue, who fights the Indoraptor in an awesome battle that ends with the creature being impaled on a fossil display. Meanwhile, a gas leak threatens the lives of the remaining dinosaurs still in cages. Claire hesitates to release them, fearing the consequences of letting them into the real world. Ultimately though, Maisie, sympathizing with the dinosaurs as fellow clones, opens the gates and sets them free. The movie ends with Eli being killed by the T-Rex and a Carnotaurus as the dinosaurs escape into the wild. At the very end, Ian Malcolm returns and declares that humans must now learn to coexist with dinosaurs in a changed world. In Jurassic World Dominion, taking place in 2022, dinosaurs now live alongside humans all over the globe, creating a super dangerous ecosystem. Some people try to live peacefully with the dinosaurs, while others try to hunt them or even sell them. Owen and Claire now live in the wilderness, raising Maisie as their own daughter to keep her safe from those who want to study her or even clone her more. Blue is also living nearby and has a baby called Beta. But when poachers kidnap Maisie and Beta, Owen and Claire begin a rescue mission across the globe. The poachers end up taking Maisie and Beta to a powerful tech company called Biosyn. Biosyn is also the place where many dinosaurs from around the world were taken, since it was a wild sanctuary for them. Biosyn even created their own dinosaurs, and it's also located in Italy. Meanwhile, Ellie Sattler returns to investigate this separate storyline. Genetically engineered giant locusts are devouring crops across the US, which is getting rid of global food supplies. These locusts avoid crops grown by Biosyn, raising suspicions that Biosyn created them themselves. Ellie contacts Alan Grant, and together they travel to Biosyn's headquarters to meet with Ian Malcolm, who is now working for the company. It's also revealed that Ellie is now divorced from her husband, so throughout the movie, she and Alan rekindle their relationship and get back together. Biosyn is led by CEO Lewis Dodgson, and yes, this is the same guy who bribed Dennis in the first Jurassic Park movie. Dodgson is continuing genetic research with the help of Dr. Wu. It's revealed that Wu was the reason this locust plague all started. He said they were originally created to make crops resistant to things like droughts and bad weather. Wu also said that he wants to stop the locust plague he caused, and he believes that studying Maisie and Beta is the key to reversing the damage for whatever reason. Owen and Claire travel through Malta's dinosaur black market and eventually reach Biosyn's facility where Maisie and Beta are being held. Maisie learns more about her mother, Charlotte Lockwood, who was a scientist. Maisie even finds out that it was actually Charlotte who cloned herself, not Benjamin who cloned his daughter, if that makes any sense at all. At Biosyn, the situation then turns chaotic when Dodgson sets the locusts on fire to cover up the company's tracks, but they end up escaping and causing a huge fire inside the forest sanctuary and just in Biosyn itself. As dinosaurs stampede and the facility begins to collapse, the old characters and the new characters team up together to escape. The T-Rex also fights a new dinosaur called the Gigantosaurus in a cool final showdown with the help from a Tyrannosaurus, if I said both those names right. The group manages to escape in a helicopter, and Dodgson is killed trying to flee, ironically by the same species that killed Dennis, the Dilophosaurus. In the end, Wu uses DNA from Beta and Maisie to engineer a cure for the locusts. The film concludes with humans and dinosaurs beginning to learn to coexist, and with Blue and Beta reuniting. Also, I forgot to mention this new character named Kayla Watts, but she's basically a pilot for captured dinosaurs, and she usually takes them to Biosyn among some other buyers. And now, we of course have Jurassic World Rebirth coming up very soon. It's going to take place 5 years after Dominion, so in 2027. It'll focus on Scarlett Johansson's character, Zora Bennett, leading a team including Jonathan Bailey's Henry Loomis and Mahershala Ali's Duncan Kincaid to go to an island with a research facility that was used for Hammond's Jurassic Park. Their mission is to get DNA from dinos on the island that could benefit humans all over the planet. Of course, they will run into a ton of dinosaurs on their mission, including some creepy looking failed clone dinosaurs. Well everyone, thank you all so much for watching our recap of the Jurassic films. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope you enjoyed Jurassic World Rebirth as well. Let us know in the comments below what your favorite Jurassic movie is, and other than that, we'll see you in the next one.